Good afternoon. Good afternoon. What makes me worried is that political leaders, they do not believe that God speaks through visions and dreams. If political leaders can have a time to examine my prophecies or God's prophecies, usually I always say my prophecies or I warned. Where I use I, please can you kindly say God? I'm just a spokesperson of God. At times I feel overwhelmed to say I. Well, it's God that spoke through a vision to me. If all the 6 presidents that are dead in Zambia listened to God's warning written in letters, they are not going to be dead by now. I will warn 2 people in this revelation, in this podcast presentation. Hakainde Chilema and Julius Malema. Perhaps I may add the list to Zuma and the former President Zuma and the President Ramaphosa. The 4 must listen to this warning to say, can you test my God now? I know the issue of overstay on my refugee status is based on the fight on God's ministry. But I want to assure you that no matter how much I can lose, my God won't lose the battles here on earth. You can celebrate my loss either before the court or in the community where I'm losing my properties and so forth. But there's one who cannot lose. It's God in heaven. If he has spoken, no matter how much you can persecute me, you won't change anything. But instead you are putting coal on top of your head, burning coal on top of your head. I'll read first the letter that I wrote to President Michael Sata, reminding him about the warning that I wrote to Lupia Banda. Interestingly enough, when I was writing this letter, 26 September 2011, Michael Sata was only few days after winning the elections. And I reminded him of the vision that I communicated to Lupia Banda. Again, I reminded him about the death that he was faced with. I reminded him about HH's leadership that was coming after him. This I also referred to the letters that I saved them before he became president and before Hakainde Chilema, the current Zambian president, became president. And there's nothing that I missed my word. I'll say this. There's nothing that I missed my word. I talked to future before it sprang forth, before it erupted. When I use eruption, I'm talking about the death of Sata that I saw clearly in 2008. I want to compare these happenings with the warnings I've given to President Cyril Ramaphosa, former President Zuma, and Julius Malema. Perhaps this will bring to an understanding that I'm not fighting for presidents in Zambia. Because someone was saying, hey, it's you who is killing the president so that you can become president. Here in South Africa, immediately when I came here, 2013, I requested to pray for Nelson Mandela. And I prayed that if given that opportunity, he was going to live another extra 10 years so that he makes 100. But that opportunity was denied by President Zuma. I warned President Zuma that I see your ending is not peaceful. President Zuma was forced to retire, to resign in the fulfillment of the warning. Let me read this letter. I'll just read a few pages here and there, but I want to say that this letter was written on 26 September 2011. His Excellency Julius, the Republican President of Zambia State House. CC, former President Dr. Kenneth Kaunda, former President Mr. Rupia Banda, UPND President Hakainde Chilema. These, I copied this letter and saved them. Then this one was received by Bwalia and it is signed. It is signed here by Mr. Bwalia on 1st January 2011. On 1st September 2011. Is it September or 10th? It's October, yeah. 10th October 2011. Let me read the letter. Dear Sir, congratulations for winning the 2011 elections in fulfillment of prophecy. How are you and the family? I'm blessed. I'm humbly pleased over your thunderous victory in fulfillment of the 27 May 2007 vision. First, let me accept that I too get a full understanding of this vision when it comes to pass. This is in a reference to this dream. I saw you wellest in the village in Mumbwa as I slept on a camp bed fire before a big campfire. And a lot of people gathered. Then I saw Michael Sata standing, pointing to me and said, hitting his chest, I will be president no matter what it takes. I'll go to State House. He was opposing my statement on the interview. Just after him, I saw President UPND Hakainde Chilema standing the other side and said, what I know is that no matter how long it will take, I'll be president of Zambia. If Sata, okay, let me explain something here. This interview was on the 27th, this same date, May 2007. As I featured on a state television, I said, what I saw is that Kaunda ran out from the throne. Then Chiluba came on the same throne. Then I saw the Pope who came on the same throne with the UPND as the party that would be the vehicle used by UPND, by the Pope to rule. So I emphasized in that vision to say the party that was going to succeed MMD is UPND. So now, when I went home, the very night I received a vision where I saw Sata hitting his chest, I'll be president no matter what it takes. And Hakainde Chilema standing the other side, I'll be president no matter how long it will take. This vision gave me an understanding that Sata is forcing his way. Sata, I wrote in many other letters to say Sata is MMD. I think even in this letter, those statements can be found. So this fight Sata started. It brought in Mwanawasa, it brought in Lupia Banda, and him came as the fifth. And it brought in, under the same group of MMD, it brought in Lungu as the sixth president. All of them hitting their chest to be president no matter what it takes. Under Michael Sata as PF leader, who was MMD. So now, I said, if Sata is able to fight the frog that has crushed Mwanawasa's term of office, I talked of prophetic symbol, the frog, that has crushed Mwanawasa. So that was a clear warning. If Sata is able to fight the frog that crushed Mwanawasa's term of office, meaning that his term of office was also being fought by the same power identified as a frog. I continued. I want to admit that your thunderous victory has challenged my faith. That statement. His victory challenged my faith indeed. How is it? Positively, because what I saw, that he will be president no matter what it takes, it occurred. And I want to further say, I will also fully understand the visions as they get fulfilled. This statement was echoed later to Mr. President Rupia Banda, Republican Vice President of Zambia, 10th July 2008, 2009, where I referred to this vision. And the same is found in Volume 2, Criminal Trespass, open letter to Dr. Lev Patrick Mwanawasa, 2007, page 112 to 113, 2008 edition. The dream that I saw Hakainde Chilema on the other side says, no matter how long it will take, I'll be president. It is actually recorded from these letters that I've quoted, 2007, 2008, 2009, and in the book, I repeatedly quoted this vision. The two, Hakainde Chilema, as saying, I'll be president no matter how long it will take. The first one, no matter what it takes, I'll be president. This one, no matter how long it will take, I'll be president. Those visions and these two leaders, one won in 2011 based on the vision that I had in 2007. The other followed precisely. There was no one in between them. After Sata, there came Hakainde Chilema. Who is Lungu in between? Lungu is PF. It is in a similar interpretation of Belshazzar and Nebuchadnezzar. When Daniel saw the vision, he says, you Nebuchadnezzar, after you another kingdom will come. But Nebuchadnezzar went and got mad 7 years, ate grass. Belshazzar took the place of Nebuchadnezzar. It was not counted a different government or a different kingdom. It was under the same kingdom of Nebuchadnezzar. So those who want to be critical on interpretation of visions, I'm challenging you to say, whatever happened from MMD Chiluba to PF, this Chiluba was president. Manawasa Sata was the second, a minister without portfolio. He was running all the affairs of the MMD. Meaning that even on the airport, when I was addressing Chiluba, let me show this on this picture on the book. Yes, when you look, this man here, it's Manawas, it's Sata. This one is Chiluba. This one here, it's me. This was my first time when I talked to Chiluba at the airport trap. When I trapped him, look close, that is Sata. So, the message that I gave to Chiluba, Sata received that message. Listen to it. And he came out of MMD to form PF with the same message. You're supposed to take me to State House to go and talk to Chiluba, but upon being instructed by Chiluba, he left me standing at the airport, Michael Sat. I told him to say, how the way you left me standing at the airport, you are going to meet the wrath of my God on your way to leadership struggle is no more. So those that are there, instead of them furnishing the ministry with resources to reach the world in printed books, in a best podcast, they are busy sending people to fight me. They are busy using organizations that must protect me to fight me for no apparent reason, to arrest me, to accuse me of mental illness. And now I'm faced with the overstay when I was in the offices of the Home Affairs on that particular date and before the expiring date. So now I want to say that in the similar manner, if you think by fighting God's ministry you are winning, you are not winning. You are just delaying yourself to your victory. So listen to this. In my future, in my failure to accommodate you in a vision of 1999, between MMD and the UPND lineup to State House. But when you phoned me on 30th July 2009, that is Michael Sata that phoned me, and on 1st August 2009, I wrote in reply to your phone call, I said, I thank God who inspired me to interpret the vision of 27 May 2007. And this is what I said. There are many issues I've talked about in this letter, but I want to interpret the vision concerning Patriotic Front leader Michael Sata Chilufya and United Party National Democracy leader Hakainde Chilema. The fight I saw for State House is between the two parties, and the gathering around the fire prompted this fighting. And the fire at this particular point stands for the funeral of the third Republican president. The other thing I have not fully understood is a statement that no matter how long it would take, I'll be president of Zambia. This statement has an element of accepting defeat or giving chance to Sata. Or it is telling us that the time for UPND government is future. This is later in reply to your phone call, Honorable PF President Michael Sata, 3rd July 2009, time 15:11. And another 1st August 2009. And the same is found in Volume 2, Criminal Trespass, open letter to Dr. Levi Manawasa. And the third volume, President Barack Obama Pigpen Predicament, Volume 3, on page 342, 2012 edition. So now, I said the fire that I saw, it was a gathering for Mwanawasa's funeral. There was a gathering for Mwanawasa's funeral. There was a gathering for Chiluba's funeral. There was a gathering for what? For Sata's funeral. There was gathering for Lungu's funeral. There will be another gathering for Hakainde Chilema. God does not miss his words. You can get this letter. I found this letter before the High Court in 2020. In a case, Alex Masuka versus the Home Affairs or Standing Committee, which was later Home Affairs and the 11 others, as a proof of evidence that God has been speaking to me. And this was before Hakainde Chilema became president. But someone would say, hey, no, you, Mr. Masuka, maybe you wrote this letter to accommodate, to say you knew that Hakainde Chilema would be president. No. Hakainde Chilema is seated there by God's revelation. And his action is definitely by God's revelation. And his end is definitely by God's revelation. So let me read the other statement here. I'm greatly inspired by the words giving chance to Sata. This is it. It's your chance to State House. I don't know how you understand my interpretation. I will never change my position in any changing event without referring to what God led me to write before the predicted event or fate comes to pass. Again, I'm happy that you kept Vigo to stop rigging based on the warning I gave you in advance. I further on, what I can say concerning this vision is Michael Sata is MMD, and he received my warning at the airport when he was minister in the MMD government. When I told Chulwa that I'm God's messenger, I've come to reveal to you your enemies and your relationship with God. In this letter, I said, if Sata is able to fight the frog that crushed Mwanawasa's term of office, let him prove it, and I wish him good luck. He was behind the third term debate, and the reconciliation between him and Mwanawasa is meant to see him to State House at all costs against the revealed word, because the time is evil. The political game in the MMD shall meet the wrath of the revealed word of God. The truth is the only person who can fight this frog is one who is with God. If it's Zambian, listen to my final statement here. This letter is long and it has a lot, but I'm ending here. If Zambian politicians fail to humble themselves by asking God what is best for this nation, no matter how long it will take, the frog will rule us. It's time for our national leaders to seek God to guide our nation. I shared Munduvile's post where he actually says we need to seek God's face. I'm waiting for him. You won't find God's face from Siawan. You won't find God's face from all the bishops he's visiting, all the churches he's visiting. You won't find God's face. But the source of God's warning is here. Because there is more to what I may not say here if someone approaches me for a blessing. I don't charge. Free. Any president that wants to overtake or to remove Hakainde from power must seek God's face. And God's face is found in his 10 commandments. God's face is found in the laying of my hand on you. Now, what is happening in South Africa is boiling my temper. The Madlanga Commission, I tried to listen. Truly speaking, I tried to listen to find where Julius Malema is implicated. I tried to find where the implication. I tried. I'm a street lawyer, by the way. Every statement, it matters to me. I've tried to listen. The name of Julius Malema, the mere mentioning of Julius Malema, I find a certain podcasts, they are taking that name round on social media. Malema is actually among the cartel, drug cartel. By mere mentioning of his name by those who are giving witnesses. I think I'll have my time to broadcast what these other podcasts are saying and the way they interpret what they hear. But what I want to start with is, let me read the letter. Sorry. Let me read the letter that I wrote to Cyril Ramaphosa, a warning in regards to what is happening at the moment to Julius Malema, to Cyril Ramaphosa, to Jacob Zuma, because nothing comes to me that can pass the observation of God himself who gives me. What I write, regardless, I can't see clearly or I can't understand it clearly, but as long as I write, I say, I saw. You can do whatever you can do. You can bury me alive. It will never change. Because my seeing is not something that I just claim. It is God directed and mandated. I'm here. I'll be soon appearing before the court to challenge my overstay. And I want to appeal that I'm not there as an enemy to anyone, but to simply say who is behind my persecution in the country of Islam, who is behind destroying my properties and my effort to establish God's ministry. I know the SDA is fully involved. I took one name to the Commission of Human Rights. Since she's a South African, they never prosecuted that name. I appealed before the High Court in 2021 to bring certain individuals from Zambia that have been threatening me with death, allegation of mental illness, which was the issue that was used against me. I have evidence which cannot be disputed even before the court. But when they saw that I'm heading to a point that I can prove beyond reasonable doubt, they said, okay, let's make a plan. Let's say that he's mentally ill. I challenged that in the High Court. Let's arrest him for trespass at the United Nations when I was ordered to deliver court document by hand instead of the emails. I was arrested. When they realized that my arrest at UN as a refuge may not stand, it was also their opportunity to exercise what they failed in at the High Court, to say he cannot speak, he's sick, he has mental illness. Take him to the surgeon. My Jesus! A paid judge, a paid magistrate shouting, Jesus! Who is Jesus? Huh? You see my Jesus. Let me read what I wrote to warn Cyril Ramaphosa. Yes, get your phone and just enter open letter to President Cyril Ramaphosa on your phone. Then you find it, or you simply say open letter to President. Then go down as I'm scrolling. Go down. You find other letters that I've been writing to Hakainde Chilema. Then on 1st December 2022, you find the open letter to Cyril Ramaphosa, President Cyril Ramaphosa. Don't know if you can see from yes. So I had to put some annexures of these allegations of mental illness that were manufactured to make sure that I'm closed forever under the disguise of mental illness. There are many people that I found there that are innocently detained as a mental patient. Another man lived there for 11 years for mere allegation that he raped his own daughter. I want to say that there are certain cases that can be fined, but to put someone in a mental hospital to take drugs of a sick person for allegations that are clearly known in South Africa, that if a woman doesn't love his husband, you simply make arrangement with the daughter to say that your dad wanted to rape me. It's a clear. I've heard men of those men that were coming in Kosuma Pool when I was detained there for 4 months. Same story of women that wants to play around to be grooving from one place to another, to be receiving gifts from too many men. Meet me in Madlanga Commission. We discuss issues pertaining marriage. Meet me in what? In Midnight Cry. Midnight Cry, 24 hours. Every midnight. I'm talking about the Midnight Cry. The bride and the groom. We'll go into details of marriage. Here's the open letter that I want to read. I'll just pick some few statements here. Open letter to South African President, His Excellent Cyril Ramaphosa. Reminder for rejection of visions and dreams. I reminded Cyril Ramaphosa for rejection of visions and dreams. And this reminder goes also to Julius Malema for rejection of visions and dreams. This also goes to Jacob Zuma. This also goes to Hakainde Hichilema, the president of Zambia. When you reject the revelations, you meet your fate. Whatever you can plan to do against me, it won't even matter. King Manasseh chopped Isaiah the prophet into pieces for giving him a warning from God against sacrificing his daughters unto idols. Even when Isaiah was chopped, Manasseh was arrested. He was put a nose ring in a queue as a slave, captured in a cell. Manasseh came back to his senses and remembered what the prophet told him. He was exactly on the point that the prophet warned him in a prison cell as a slave. I warned Hakainde Chilema that he will find himself on that. Furthermore, there are two things. If you find himself in jail, it's a lighter punishment. But death is precisely the greater one if there's no point of repentance. How are you? I'm sure you and former President Jacob Zuma have a tough time ahead. I said you have tough time ahead. And the Madlanga Commission is one of the toughest times for the presidents of South Africa. Many key witnesses are killed who are supposed to testify and implicate the leadership of ANC. tough time. The one who has been used, let me not rush, let me read so that I can say, I said the truth is that you both rejected warnings that led me to be arrested at UN's offices in Brooklyn, Pretoria for trespass at UN offices on 14th May 2021. All right. I said my email account has been hacked. The email which I saved this letter is closed, is hacked. The phone numbers that I was using, they were changed into someone else's name. I cannot reclaim them so that I can open my email. I proceeded to say, I warned former President Jacob Zuma of his arrest and the current situation, that there is no peace in his going. I made the same warning to you and asked you to allow me to pray for the victims of COVID-19 in 2020 if they ever existed as the media reported. Let me proceed to Julius Malema. I said, I know. Before I went to Julius Malema, I continued to address Cyril Ramaphosa. I said, I know you don't know that your enemies are my enemies, and the enemies of every African leader opposed to true worship based on revelation, against the Antichrist and against anti-Africanism. I was saying, where Cyril Ramaphosa is, where every president is, there are people that are surrounding them as advisors. Those, when they see letters coming from a prophet and that letter exposes the truth, they hold it and they don't give it to the president. So I said, lastly, today EFF President Julius Malema can be used to bring down both you and Zuma. When he is done with you, everyone else who is defending South Africa natural resources, the frog that has seen Zambian leaders down to their graves before time, will also bring the South African hopeful incoming president Julius Malema down too. So these allegations in Madlanga Commission were foretold. Someone may argue and say, okay, the issue of discharging a gun started long time before 2022 when I wrote this letter, but the judgment was not yet given. And that issue never attracted any attention at all. It has taken 7 years. But when that judgment was passed, I said, this is what I wrote. Did I mention? Let me. I was supposed to add this paragraph where I said, the incoming president Julius Malema too. Then I continue to say, I don't know how, but it can be through assassination or corruption allegation until they bring a person who will sell South African assets in terms of natural resources or precious stones and call for partnership in creation of globalization against God's word. I'm praying for Malema not to fail to seek God's face in his call for a United States of Africa, and for him to see you as a brother. So recently, it was reported that Malema was actually having a funeral, and Zuma attended that funeral and actually appealed that we must work together. Zuma was actually telling Malema that we must unite. So the next person to be on the unity is Cyril Ramaphosa. This unity must call for a United States of Africa in order for Africa to own its natural resources. Christianity, that is European-based, Western Christianity, Roman Catholic Christianity, as Roman Catholics classified as the mother of all churches, yes, it has a corrupt Christianity that teaches that poverty it will help us to go to heaven. But God wants to give us the milk and honey that he promised to the children of Israel, so that sin cannot be compelled because of hunger. You know, when God says that a person, he gave the instruction to the children of Israel, when one is hungry, enters in the field without asking, he enters there, he eats whatever he eats. If you can go with your own pot, you cook your maize, you eat there, you finish, you come out with only your pot, don't take any other maize. If it's sugar cane, you eat your sugar cane, even if the owner comes to find you, as long as you are eating within the field, there's no case. But when you come out with it, then there's a case. If that law is applied, it's a generous one. So I'm simply saying, today, the allegations that are leveled against African leaders, it's a war that is planted within ourselves. And I've seen this even to people that are accusing Malema. I don't want to be racist, but I would say most of the white people are even hiring some of the black people just by mentioning of Malema before Madlanga Commission of his 7 companies. I heard a statement which they don't want to broadcast when he was asked that, when they were asking about this, the question of the 7 companies, are they in compliance with the law? And yes. But I've not heard that these companies of Malema, they are diverting VAT, or they acquired also the 360 million from Tembisa Hospital that opened those companies. I didn't understand any tangible allegation against Malema. I want to hear it, to say there is evidence that these 7 companies of Malema, the tender procedures were floated. And this is how they were floated. Not just mentioning to say he's also a beneficiary from a tender procedures. Which tender procedures? How much did Malema divert in order to benefit those companies? Because they will always remain tenders for anyone who can apply for a tender. It is not wrong for me to for example, in a community where I am, if I can talk to these people, Nyaupes, they find me, I'm stuck with my back, they push me until they come into my yard. Then when they are in my yard, I get some money to give them for thank you for pushing me. Then someone get a photograph. Oh, I saw you was paying the Nyaupes for stealing for him, because this Nyaupe was caught stealing somewhere at this side. So Mr. Masuka is always talking to Nyaupes on his way to the mall. Mr. Masuka always gives transport to the Nyaupes when he's going to town. So because I associate myself with the community that is affected with the Nyaupes, and because I may exchange money to give them for the service that they have done to me. Sometimes they bring firewood. They say, we are selling firewood. How much? 100 rand. Oh, can you give me that firewood? He enters my yard. Now, because that Nyaupe is caught somewhere stealing, then someone will say, no, I saw that Nyaupe pushing a trolley in Mr. Masuka's yard. So meaning that whatever he steals, he takes it into Mr. Masuka's yard. These are the same allegations that are leveled against Julius Malema, to say 80,000 was given to a taxi boss who is a drug lord, who is what. Of course, we live with these drug lords in our community. Even drug lords, they can even come and ask for money from us if we have the ability to give them, and that does not implicate someone. But the mere mention of Julius Malema is already a case. Why? Because Julius Malema has fixed Zuma and on the window candle. Julius Malema is on top of Palapala, bringing down who? Cyril Ramaphosa. Now they are on him. in the fulfillment of this prophecy. So this is how God speaks. I also understand clearly when these visions come to pass. But my appeal to the listener is that I don't wish Julius Malema ill. I don't wish Cyril Ramaphosa ill. I don't wish President Jacob Zuma former ill or Hakainde Chilema ill. If these four, they can take their time to humble themselves, to seek God's face, they'll find a better exit from all this political entanglement. I prayed for Iran when Donald Trump declared, tonight I will erase Iran from history. Why? Because he wants to be president, jokingly so, he wants to be president in Venezuela because he managed to fish Nicolas Maduro. Today he's bragging, I'll be president. When I finish to be president, I'll go and stand in Venezuela, because now he's bragging that he is the richest. America has the largest oil. He doesn't need any oil from Iran. Even if the Strait of Hormuz is closed, he's lying. He wanted also to become president in there. What does that mean? In my prophecy, I said a new king shall come after Obama, and he shall not recognize Africa. Donald Trump is establishing himself as a king. So these prophecies have nothing to fight Donald Trump. Have nothing to fight Obama as a Joseph in Egypt in fulfillment of those prophecies. But I have one clear message, is that God gave me to say I should call for a United States of Africa, for God to call out of this United States of Africa his remnant church that shall be blessed through natural resources, because the community will be not inching to steal. They'll have enough to feed their families. The community then will produce a church that will eliminate corruption in their minds. Because what the whites are doing, America, France, and all other colonial masters, they get our resources. Then we remain without money because they devalue our currencies. And when they give the money through political channels, then everyone inches for money because it's a drop. It's one drop only from political leadership. A president is the one who drops the money from America to everyone in the community. Whosoever who is happy in the community, it's only that only when the father comes from State House, then the community will say, hey, they are eating, they are doing. So everyone wants to be president because there's only one drop where honey is coming from. It's State House. May God bless you for seeking his face. Amen.